Hello, everyone. This is Faye, and I sell Medicare plans. This is the podcast where everyone who offers Medicare products comes to find out how to do it, when to do it, what's compliant, what's not compliant, what's not kosher, what to do and what not to do. Every week, I try to bring you some information that will be very, very helpful to establishing your business. This week, my guests are from Advocate Health. Advocate Health is a well-known FMO throughout the country. I have with me Joanne French, who is the national recruiter, and Colonel Cullen Wright, who is retired military, and the Colonel is the Veterans Initiative Director with Advocate Health. Hi to both of you. How are you?
Good morning. Wonderful. Hope you are.
Morning, Faye. Thanks for having us on today.
Oh, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. You both may recall a couple years ago you were on, and as a result, that podcast was one of the most frequently listened to podcasts. So what that told me when I went back to look at the numbers is what you had to say was of great interest to a lot of people. So it's about time that we had you back to tell us any updates that you have about working with veterans and combining or fusing Medicare benefits for veterans. I think Colonel Wright has such an insight into this, being a veteran, and then also being called and asked by many of the carriers to work directly with them to form the benefit packages. So is there anything new that either of you have been up to recently?
Well, the explosive growth of the MA only plans, not that only an MA only is the fit for veterans, but we have seen explosive growth through many carriers. We attend a lot of their national conferences, and we're constantly in contact with them and give them feedback. And we're seeing that those benefits and those plans, and as you mentioned earlier, we have consulted with some of our carrier partners, but the benefits in those plans are falling more in line to what veterans really need. None of the healthcare systems in the military side of the house, between VA, Champ VA for spouses, or TRICARE for retirees, none of them are all incomplete by themselves. So we find the plan that fits those gaps, and we're just seeing more and more tools added to the tool bag to fit those gaps.
So in your experience in working with those plans, how do you actually, because I know that you also connect the agents with the particular plans and actually help them to determine what plans might work better. How do you go about doing that? Is there any set rule, or is there something that we should be aware of in terms of what to do for a veteran that's best for the veteran?
Sure. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that one. It is one of the things that makes us unique in some of the interface that we've had with other government agencies and with our carrier partners. We haven't found anybody that's duplicating at the level of what we're doing. We have a training and certification process. Out of the thousands of agents that we have about 400 that have been through that process. And I tell veterans, I said, if you buy your insurance or let someone help you make those enrollment decisions with anyone other than one of these certified agents, they may get it right. They may get it right by accident. They may just be someone who uniquely knows this. I would love to meet them because I'd love to recruit them to join our team. But I know if one of our Advocate Health Advisors certified agents that's been through our veterans training and passed the test, I'll know they get it right by design, certification training, and refresher. And then they also have us to sort of phone a friend if you're on a call and you're at the kitchen table and you need some assistance with something, or there's a complex, because there are some complex questions that, will be asked at those meetings, that we're always there for them because they're part of the advocate team.
For many years, and I'm sure that you all know this, I worked as a field sales representative. And during that time, for some reason, my manager just kind of said, stay away from this. You don't know if you're going to do something that's not good for the veterans. So we kind of stayed away from the veterans. Is that the trend? That's not the trend you're seeing today, right?
Unfortunately, it's those myths, rumors, whatever you want to call them, they're still alive and well. We have, I could retire if I had $1 for every time I heard that. And some of them, I'll even talk to veterans sometimes that say, well, I have TRICARE, and the call center actually hung up on me. As soon as they heard the word TRICARE, it was like, hello, are you there? But it is a common do no harm mentality, which I do respect that. And I get it. If you're training to thousands and thousands of agents, I'm sure everyone that's listening to this can think of at least one person that you would not let sit down with your mother or your grandmother or loved one. And that's kind of the lowest common denominator in that equation. It's not the case with us. We say no. Sometimes we're like, I think you'd be a better fit with another one of our initiatives. We have about 90. Also, just they have to have a regional manager recommendation, a director endorsement. They have to attend the training. They have to pass the certification. And not everyone passes on the first time. So I give it to the agents that have come back multiple times to certify. But once they've made it through that, I'm no longer dealing with the person that you wouldn't let sit down with your mother, grandmother, loved one. I'm dealing with somebody that's distinguished themselves amongst their peers. They belong to a great FMO. They've had lots of endorsement all up and down their chain, and they've attended the training and become certified. So we can take it a lot further because we're just working with cream of the crop agents like yourself there.
Now, where are you based, Colonel? Do you go throughout the country? I'm sorry.
I'm based at the Marriott. We travel. Yeah, we travel a lot for this, and it's okay. I enjoy the travel. Our CEO and founder, Darwin Hale, he gives me a tremendous amount of support and flexibility because sometimes things come up on very short notice and they can be extremely high payoff. We had one of our agents in Chicago who honestly hadn't really produced big numbers call me on the weekend and asked me if I could be there Tuesday because he would have 125 veterans in attendance in an event that he did. And I took him at his word. And when I showed up, there were probably actually more than 125. So travel is an absolute must with this. We are kind of training people to carry the torch, in addition to us. And we have agents across the country that have distinguished themselves, the Lowenbergs in Texas, Medicare Mike in Long Island, the list goes on and on. But we have agents that know this stuff very well, and they're saving and changing lives every day. And I don't mean that to be an overstatement. Literally saving and changing lives every day with what we can do.
Now, like anything else, I guess, retired military often will live near where they are retiring. So there must be pockets across the country where there maybe agents might see more military involvement than others.
There are. And some like to move as far away as they can. But yeah, you're right. We do have, we've got 4 big pockets of the highest concentration. Just go from west to east, the Southern California area from Los Angeles down to San Diego, especially in the San Diego area, one of the highest veterans per capita market in the country. The population centers in Texas, we don't find as many veterans out in the country as you do in some other states. The entire state of Florida, I think we could hold hands and do the wave across Florida. And then Pennsylvania, mainly on the edges near Philly and Pittsburgh, and then that New Jersey, New York adjoining area there. Those are our big pockets. And then we have second tier pockets that stretch all the way from Virginia, grabbing every state all the way over to Louisiana. So we do have, I think veterans like warm weather, and they like, to be where they had a little bit of good experience in the military. So you're right with that.
I thought for sure you were going to say North Carolina.
North Carolina is in the second tier. It certainly is.
Okay.
That first top tier is just those 4, and then the next tier down there grabs the Carolinas and most of the Southeast.
Okay. Now you mentioned your CEO. I understand that your CEO is a veteran as well.
He is. We served together for over 3 decades. I think he had 37 years when he had his retirement ceremony. We were, blessed and honored to be part of that. And he started the company as a result of something that happened on a deployment. He had gotten his mom in a plan that was a great fit for her, and he goes to Afghanistan, comes back. Somebody had come behind him, put her on a plan. Problems with doctors and network medicines and formulary. It just wasn't the fit. And then the agent just ghosted, just disappeared. And it really bothered him. And it bothered him enough that, going on 18 years ago, he stood up advocate. 2 basic goals in mind, those agents that I talked about that, you would trust to sit down with a loved one. He wanted to, work with those agents, this cream of the crop, and then also provide, second to none back office support. And that's what we do today. It's a pretty simple equation. Sometimes there's some details in the delivery, but it is such a feel good when you can change and literally sometimes save someone's life with what we can do.
Now, in my experience, it's been pretty easy and pretty not really complicated to explain to someone who's using VA services that they can also have a Medicare Advantage plan. But it becomes a little more difficult, I believe, to when TRICARE is involved. Why is that?
Well, you have with the VA, it's an either or relationship. With TRICARE and also with CHAMP VA, which is given to spouses of veterans in a few conditions. Those have a first payer, second payer relationship with Medicare. So there's a little bit of coordination. One thing I do tell agents, they say, well, I'm scared I'm going to mess up their military benefits. And one thing, any veterans who are listening to this or anyone who works with veterans, those military benefits are given for specific events and reasons that can't be undone. You have 2 years of active duty service and a qualifying factor for the VA. For TRICARE, you have a retiree. You've done 20 years or you were medically retired. For CHAMP VA, there's a spouse that is either no longer with us for 2 or 3 reasons or is 100% permanently and totally disabled. These things can't go away. So you're not going to break or get them kicked out of military benefits. You may use them differently, but they're not going away. And this rumor is alive and well also. We just recently had to do a rebuttal piece to a gentleman that was in Biloxi, Mississippi, on the news saying, hey, your TRICARE could go away, and once it goes away, you can never get it back. And, after I pulled my jaw off the table, I called our local agent, please buy some airtime so we can squash that, because that type of stuff just, scares people. I mean, not in a, go hide in the closet. It's not good. And if you don't know, just say you don't know. There's no harm in that.
And that's the kind of thing that frightens the agents too, I think, because those, I don't know if I should call them, they're not myths because it's really untruths, but they're floating around. And so that's what frightens the agent, and it causes them to possibly lose an opportunity to help someone with it.
I take it super serious, Faye, and I'm glad we're talking on this a little bit. I personally, I consider that to be like Medicare malpractice. My wife and I were at an Airbnb. We got to talking with the owner just a little bit. Turned out he was a Navy veteran, vision of health. The guy runs marathons and everything. And it comes up in conversation. He hasn't been to the doctor for 7 years, pays his Part B. And we convinced him to just sit down and talk with the agent. And the agent enrolled him. The hook for him was he wanted a Part B get back. He never uses the doctor. So he calls me about 90 days later. And he says, hey, that plan you put me in, I had to go to the doctor. And in my mind, the next sentence is going to be, and I don't like go to the doctor. Why'd you put me in the plan? But actually the next sentence was, they found cancer very early and I'm going to be alive. You literally saved my life putting me in that plan. So I don't take it as somebody's just missing out a sale or someone, could have made a commission. This is potentially life-threatening stuff when you put somebody on the wrong plan or you pass over a customer because you don't have the support network and the training and certification network that we can give at Advocate. And, by the way, that's one of like hundreds of stories we have. It is such a feel good, and I love what we do.
Well, that happens, and we all know that it happens. What would you suggest would be the best way? Should asking if you're a veteran be a part of our fact finding initially?
Oh, yes, absolutely, because you have to know what those military benefits are doing, really kind of more importantly, what they're not doing. So, you got to identify the gaps to know which puzzle piece to put in there from your repertoire of policies that you can fit that agent with or fit that veteran with. So you absolutely have to know that on the front end. And you can't ever assume that somebody has asked when someone is a veteran or not. We had one gentleman, 7 different doctors for a type of cancer that was clearly linkable to Agent Orange exposure. In the last 30 days of his life, we discovered that he had never approached the VA about this. Christina Lonegro, who works with me, amazing young lady, she got him expedited through a claims process, got him declared 100% permanently and totally disabled, which, by the way, he should have been declared years before that. And when he passed, the benefit wasn't so much to him. I think he may have gotten one disability compensation pension check. But when he passed, his wife got dependent indemnity compensation, DIC, for the rest of her life. It's about half of his pension, is the rough rule of thumb. And then also she got Champ VA for the rest of her life, which performs like a supplement. So I just can't emphasize having the right people on that healthcare team is so critical.
So now, one of the keys, if I remember correctly, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I do not want to give out any wrong information, but with TRICARE for Life, the reason that we are looking at MA instead of MAPD, could you explain that to us easily?
Sure. The Express Scripts is phenomenal coverage that's embedded already in TRICARE. And the vast majority of the time, when you ask a veteran or a veteran spouse that uses that, if that coverage is meeting their needs, the answer is yes. You will every once in a while find an outlier that says, yes, but, and the but may be, I have this one that cost me, whatever their break point is for their comfort level. In that case, you can do an MAPD. There's a couple impacts to that. And we have to prepare the veteran for a letter that they're going to get from Express Scripts and the new role that Express Scripts will play. But once again, those benefits aren't going anywhere. You're going to use them differently, but they're not going anywhere. And that's part of the certification process that we take every agent through in this initiative.
Does the TRICARE for Life work like to coordinate benefits for copays in the MA?
The plan itself does not. The plan functions, basically does 2 things. It pays the rest of the bill and it has a drug plan. The coordination piece that is sort of invisible when you have original Medicare, because original Medicare pays their piece and they forward it on to TRICARE. The coordination piece is sometimes picked up by the doctor's office. That's what we prefer. And they'll do one more step in addition to what they normally would have done in the billing piece, or it can be picked up through the veteran. The veteran can handle that piece on their own. Either way, it gets the job done. They have the same outcome at the end of the bill. The TRICARE is going to pay the rest, just like they paid the rest with the original Medicare. But then we get all those life-changing, life-saving benefits in the mix.
So, Joanne, you've been very, very quiet, but we don't want to overlook you. You play an important role in making certain that the agents that are coming on board actually are enrolled in the certification program and know what the principles, the mission, and the vision of Advocate Health is. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am one of the 43 regional managers across the country. And so I work personally with quite a few folks on my team. Additionally, I am the national recruiter for Advocate Health Advisors. So I get to travel around the country and do meetings to share our value proposition, which is a little different than some of our other competitors, and bring folks on, particularly one of my favorite pieces of the job is actually to work with folks that want to grow into a GA or an MGA situation and have a team and mentor and train and groom and create a hierarchy. So I help do that for a lot of folks that start out as an individual agent and realize that perhaps they're born educators and they want to grow their vision.
Oh, that should keep you pretty busy.
A little bit. A little bit. It's nice
Okay.
to work with folks across the country.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, would either of you have any closing points that you would like to leave with us for our viewers? Remembering that these are people who are actually doing Medicare products. Some of them may be new to the industry, and this is a good time because a lot of people are deciding, I'm going to do Medicare. I find that a lot of life insurance agents are now entering into the Medicare space, and they just may need to know a little bit more about what to do and how this all works. Would either of you have some closing points that you'd like to leave with our viewers?
Sure, I'll let Joanne close it up. I'll just kind of tee it up by saying, if you're interested in what we do in the veteran space, that's certainly not all we do. We help everyone in the Medicare space. But if you're interested in what we do, you want to see more, we have an Advocate for Veterans Facebook page, spell out the word "for," and advocateforveterans.com. You can look there and see some of our resources and testimonials. And if you want to work with veterans, they need someone who has been trained and certified properly to make sure they get those life-changing, life-saving benefits in those plans. So I'll let Joanne close up with how you can reach us to join the team.
I would say to anybody that's new out there, when you're interviewing FMOs, ask a lot of questions. You'll know right away when you're in the right room. And there are a lot of field marketing organizations, and the fiduciary of all of them is the same: to train, motivate, and help an agent make the life-changing and life-saving actions to put the seniors on the right plan that's appropriate for them. We are a boutique field marketing organization. We're not the largest, we're certainly not the smallest, but we're national with 80 carriers. And we work side by side, shoulder to shoulder with our broker partners. We're independently owned, and we pride ourselves on our relationships. And I will say that working for an Army colonel does not leave a whole lot of room for error. So all we do is Medicare, and we run on a metric system and a code of ethics. So we love bringing on new people. We love helping them reach their goals, because when the agent wins, we win. We don't win just by bringing on brokers for the numbers. We only succeed when an agent succeeds as well. So
thank you both. Thank you very, very much. This has been the I Sell Medicare Plans podcast, and our repeat customers. Will you guys come back again if you're invited?
Always.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, thank you. I am so blessed to have friends like you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you, Faye. Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely.
You're welcome.